Hey guys, since I did a video of my digital games yesterday, I'm guessing it's yesterday, whenever this posts, I don't know how good the quality is going to be. YouTube's been low quality even on the higher channels when I look at them, so hopefully when this is all over, like the actual archive data file will be higher resolution. But I figured I'd share my physical games collection for my PS4. It's going to be a lengthy video. I can't go over every single game, so I'm just going to show you it, and if you see something that interests you, let me know if that's something you want to see on the channel. So basically, I have all this shit on top, but I constructed a shelf. It was like an IKEA thing. I didn't like actually cut the wood and everything, but I put it together. So there's this thing right here. It stores all my PS4 games, and then I have them like this. So there's 6 areas. This one's almost full, and I think that'll be my PS4 complete collection. There's only like a handful of games that are coming out before the PS5. I do have Persona 5 the Royal Edition and Resident Evil 3 Remake. I had sent to my sister's house, so I have those games, but they won't be here in time. And then Final Fantasy 7 Remake, whenever that comes in, that'll actually be part of the collection. But then after that, I think there's Cyberpunk 2077, the Avengers game, The Last of Us 2. 2 Point Hospital looks cool. I can't remember which one it is. So yeah, and Trails of Cold Steel, and then maybe some obscure games that I haven't really thought about. But yeah, after that, like, I guess my focus would be on the PlayStation 5. Yeah, it's crazy how fast games add up. So without further ado, I'll quickly go through my game collection, my physical PS4 game collection. And again, if there's something that interests you, let me know. And I'm sorry for the background noise, and I'm sorry if I sound out of breath. Like I said, I haven't really filmed any videos lately, not only because of the internet, because anxiety's been really bad, and when my anxiety's bad, like, I kind of hyperventilate, so please forgive me. I'm also on a shit ton of caffeine because I'm trying to counteract Benadryl. I actually found out today that Richmond, the state that or the city I live in, which is the state of Virginia, but I found out that in all of the United States, Richmond, Virginia has the worst allergies. So go figure. It makes so much sense now. So I'm gonna go through these. You might see the cat make an appearance because she gets curious whenever I go through things. Don't you, Zoe? She's always like curious and wants to be a part of something. But anyway, this is a limited run game. I actually got off of eBay for the same price that it costs on limited run. Some games I've had to make makeshift cases for. There's apparently a box at my grandmother's house, and I think there's cases in there, so I've had to make makeshift cases, or I've rented a game and it didn't come with a case. I'm not a huge collector of like games like that need to be in mint condition as far as their cases and instruction booklet go if they have them. I just want the game. So this was a rental. It's Agents of Mayhem, which is kind of a Saints Row 4 sequel. had to import this one. It wasn't released here in the United States, but apparently this is the Canadian version, which it was released in Canada for some reason. It's not often you ever hear about games just coming out in Canada, but not here. I actually really like Assassin's Creed Unity. I never played the multiplayer version. I think more people should give that game a chance now that it's patched. I don't have any of the Assassin's Creed Origins or Odyssey DLC, but especially the Odyssey DLC looks really cool. I would like to retry the game, but they're so different from the other Assassin's Creed games. I can't wait till we go to the lower shelf so I don't have to stretch my arms out as much. The Atelier series, they're like RPGs where you find ingredients and there's a lot of alchemy and crafting involved, but I just really like the watercolor art style. That's what sells me about it. I'm not necessarily a huge fan of the characters or the games, but I just think the art style is beautiful. And these Attack on Titan games are really fun. I have the first 2 seasons. I would like to get the third season to be a completionist of the actual show. But they released it in 2 parts, so I'm kind of hoping they release like they did with the first season after they released it in 2 parts. I have the special edition of this, by the way. I just took the case out of the box. But I hope they release the second season in 1 box after the two parts come out like they did with the first season. This is actually the original Back to the Future of the game didn't have the voice of, maybe it's on the back, Tom Wilson, who played Biff, but when they re-released the game for, I guess, the 30th anniversary. I feel so old. I was born in '84. That movie came out in '85. And I've had this game for a while. I'm 35 now, so I guess it would be, this year would be the 34th anniversary. The Telltale Batman games are excellent, even though you can't get them all digitally. Like, I mean, all physically. Like, that was a Seasons Pass disc. I would, because I was impatient and I just wanted to download everything. But I would definitely check it out. It's a shame they never came out with the on-disc DLC version of this. The DLC version of this is really on point. Batman Arkham Knight's one of my favorite PlayStation 4 games, and despite the remastered that I just showed getting a lot of flack, I think they play really well, and I played through the original versions. You see, I'm a pretty big fan of the Battlefield games. I know Battlefield 5 has a lot of controversy, but there's so much free content, and they actually started stuff with the Western Front. I really need to try it again. Hardline left on a cliffhanger where I guess they felt for sure they were going to have a sequel, but they never finished it. But the single player game, although ridiculously short, is really fun. I didn't like the multiplayer, which Battlefield's usually one of the games I like the multiplayer is. It's just, I don't know, it was like fast paced like Call of Duty. This is a game I got for you. This comes with a cool steel case. I'll show it to you. Sorry about the background noise, but that's what you get for living in the city. I'm a huge fan of Bayonetta. I still need to play more Bayonetta 2. And then Vanquish was a really cool game that I just wanted to hire a version of. I have the PlayStation 3 version. This was an import, but now they have a domestic version that I believe comes with Detroit Becoming Human or whatever it's called. This is also one of my favorite games. This is like one of those games I go to, comfort games I go to when I'm depressed. I mostly just play BioShock Infinite, even though most people like the first BioShock the best. I think the first BioShock starts out well, but I don't like the backtracking. This is Call of Duty Ghosts. I don't know. I think the case is at my mom's house, which would be my grandmother, but it's Call of Duty Ghosts, which I like, that also left on a cliffhanger that never got resolved. Black Ops 3, it's a pretty fun game. It doesn't feel anything like Black Ops, and there's literally 2 campaigns, like one with zombies, one without. Black Ops 4, I only paid half price of it when it was fairly new. I would not pay full price for an online only game with battle royale and stuff like that, because I know I'm not going to be that good with it. For something like the promise of like Fallout 76, like, I'm more forgiving because that's more like an RPG experience. But you know, even that game, some games, like if it's like a co-op game that you can almost play by yourself, I don't mind it that much. But Call of Duty 4 was a hard sell for me at full price. Apologize for the jump cuts. Move, kitty. But it's just easier to take them all out. So do it like this. It doesn't say what it is, but this is like the Catherine full body edition or whatever. I got the special edition with this that came with the art book, the soundtrack, and a plushie, which was the thing I cared about least. I just want the art book because there's not a lot of art on the game Catherine. And I really like the artist that also does the Persona series, are currently working on the Persona series. There's a different artist when that series first came out. Control's an awesome game. It's made by Remedy, who also made the first 2 Max Payne games, Quantic Break, and the Alan Wake games, which I haven't played Quantic Break enough. I have it, but I need to play more of it. But all their other games I have played and adored, and Control is no different. The Crew, that's an online only game, which is a shame because it does have good ideas like the cross country, and they fix a lot of the control issues where when I first played it, I felt like you were driving a boat. It doesn't feel like that anymore. One thing that is kind of cool about GameStop, which isn't going to be around anymore, and they've done some shitty things to their employees, but when GameStop was good and they were nice to their employees and all that other shit that you don't really get anywhere else, like if you go to a regular store, are obscure games like this, which isn't everybody's bag, but there's other games like the Skylines game, like you wouldn't be able to find that, or this there, like if you're into JRPGs, unless it's like Final Fantasy or Persona, like that's super popular, you won't find it anywhere. I like the Darksiders games. I haven't finished them all, but I will one day, and I really enjoy them. Here's another rental. Splinter Cell Double Agent. I had both versions. This is for the PlayStation 3, which is a pretty shit version. That was when they weren't really when they didn't really know how to develop for it, so the Xbox 360 version, which I played most of, is superior in every way. Like the frame rate's like almost unplayable. Days Gone, I need to play more of that. I feel like it has the potential of being a really good game, like, but right now I haven't played it enough where it just feels like, oh, it's kind of a good game. I liked it so far, but it seems like if I got more into it, I would like it better if I spent more time with it. This game kind of sucks because you had to download the second Dead Island game, Riptide, where it was on the disc on the Xbox One, which is an advantage for the Xbox One. They said they didn't know how to do it, which is, they could have just made 2 discs like they did with BioShock. They didn't know how to do it, but they put 2 games on the one BioShock disc. They put BioShock 1 and 2 on it, so I just think they were being lazy, to be honest with you. I love Dead or Alive 5. I wish I liked Dead or Alive 6 as much as 5, but Dead or Alive 6 is gorgeous. This is a Deadpool game. You actually have to turn off the internet for it to work right, otherwise it's like glitchy as fuck, which is really weird. But I do like the game. It's really funny. It came out before the movies and it was still like very much like the movies in controversy. Death Stranding, I think, is a really cool creative game with amazing graphics, but it's one of those games that some people love, or some people think it's boring as hell or absolutely hate it. Need to play more of this. I liked it when it first came out. I never played it on the PlayStation 4 Pro with the HDR and everything enabled. I really like this Devil May Cry despite what other people think. Ninja Theory made that. Microsoft just bought out, and they made Hellblade, which I absolutely adore. This is the most bare bones remastered ever, besides the Final Fantasy, I mean, not Final Fantasy, all Final Fantasy 7 and 10 were pretty bare bones remakes. Devil May Cry 5 feels like they took some from DMC in the original series, but it's a great game that runs on the Resident Evil Remakes engine, the RE engine that 7 ran on as well. This is Dishonored 2. I have this really special edition that came with the mask. I refuse to play this until I beat Dishonored 2. My hands are shaking because of anxiety. I apologize. I had the original version of Doom, but this came with Doom 1, 2, and 3, so I traded it. It also came with a $10 coupon off of Doom Eternal, but I decided against it, even though like I don't really care about the cases being super mint. Did I share that? But they wanted you to cut out the barcode out of the back of the box, which I wouldn't do. And plus, I used all my pre-order money I had put towards games when everything started to go haywire in the world before it got really bad, and just took it out and put it towards the Doom, so I got a discount pretty much on it anyway. And I switched my pre-orders to Amazon, which with some of the games they were cheaper. And I haven't, after Doom Eternal, I haven't been to GameStop since. I told them, like, if this place is still open, I'll be a regular customer once this blows over, assuming that everybody's good. And I say healthy or whatever, I'm not trying to be negative about anything. Did a video of that not too long ago. Drive Club is highly underrated. I'm gonna put my arm down here because it just makes it more steady. I apologize. At least you're getting to see the collection so far. Like I said, I feel like I'm pretty done. A lot of these enhanced editions or came with DLC. I probably owned the original and I traded it in for like the version that has like all the DLC. Skyrim remastered. I haven't played too much of Skyrim. I thought the remaster would win me over, but still hard for me to get into. But it was super on sale, so I'll get it. This game is really ambitious, but I don't know. This is a limited run game. It's only like $30, and it came with like a soundtrack and everything, and they always have good instruction manuals. As stupid as a compliment as that may seem. This was a VR only game, but they patched it to play regular because I don't own VR. I did believe I played in VR when I borrowed my sister's boyfriend's PlayStation VR, which was pretty cool. I still don't think the technology is there for the PlayStation VR, because in order to make it affordable, they kind of had to lower the quality of the screen, so the screen's kind of fuzzy and it takes you out of it unless you have like cataracts or something like that. Maybe that's how your everyday life looks. I don't know. I got this because I didn't feel like waiting for it to download, because it's like a 55 gigabyte download. Although when my internet isn't throttled, I can download things pretty fast, but since everybody's using the internet, like a lot of companies, and I think especially here, they lowered the internet speed, so everybody's fair. Although I think it's on the actual, based on whatever service you use. Sorry, like, I can't think straight right now. There's just so much on my mind. I apologize, but I'm guessing you guys are used to me being spacey. But like Netflix, Disney Plus, and Amazon Prime, like everything comes out crystal clear. But I know they announced PlayStation's download speeds would be slower, but it shouldn't affect the game. But I noticed when I measured the internet speed, it was significantly lower than what it usually is. And then YouTube, I noticed even the popular videos now come out like compressed. Like, I was kind of disgusted with the Halo video I did, because I knew it was going to be compressed but not that bad. But then even like with popular channels, they're coming out like lower quality. So I just think right now things aren't going to look as good. I'm hoping though that when I did my download, they got all the file sizes, so it'll be slightly higher, like when they raise the speed. One can only hope. It's just frustrating because after everything's done and rendered, it's like beautiful. I wish I could show you guys what it actually looks like. There's like barely any compression artifacts. There's some because I don't have the most expensive capture device, but it comes out really good. And then it's just like a waiting game to see how bad it looks on YouTube. In 3D, anything that's like not 2D looks the worst, especially first person shooters. But like, I was even looking at like the static parts of the screen, and even that was getting fuzzy. So I don't know, hopefully it'll look better once they speed up the internet. All right. I just got the Royal Edition, even though it was a DLC voucher, because getting the game over again was actually cheaper than getting the DLC online. But I had like the special edition that came with the prequel film, which I still have the metal case for, so I kept that. I think I traded it in a crappy box or whatever, as shitty as that sounds, but I mean, this case isn't any better, let's be honest. But I wanted my still case still, so because I wanted like a separate case to put in my movie section. So yeah, I still have the case for the original version I got. This is a weird fighting game. I feel like the PSP versions are are better, like the previous games in this series. I still think it's pretty fun, but feels a little bit broken. I haven't played it in a long time. Maybe they fixed it. I'm kind of disappointed that some of the better characters are DLC only, which I haven't bought, but I mean, they have their favorites like Cloud, Lightning, the dude's name I can't remember from Final Fantasy VIII, and Zidane from Final Fantasy IX, and then like Terra from Final Fantasy VI. But it's a cool fighting game. I just wish you didn't have to buy like most of the cool characters. This is a game I really want to get into. It seems like a lot. It's almost like Final Fantasy Pokemon, and you have like super deformed characters. There's apparently like an update you can get when the Xbox One version came out. It's a game I really like to get into. It's like turn-based. A lot of people think turn-based games are dead, but you just have to look beyond the popular games. I mean, Final Fantasy's popular, but I don't know anybody who talks about World of Final Fantasy, but the fighting system's kind of interesting. You actually stack enemies on top of your head to get abilities. It's weird. This is really cool. I would definitely check out the Fist of the North Star film. It still might be on Amazon Prime, but it's like a dude that knows like all these pressure points basically in a post-apocalyptic like Mad Max like world. It plays like the Yakuza games, so it's extremely bloody and violent. And the way that I think his name's Kenshiro, I can't remember. I have the movie because I liked it so much, and then I was like, I need a game, and I love the Yakuza games, which are made by the same people. But it's like this dude that has this fighting style that he knows like all the pressure points, and he can pretty much like make your body like explode. It's ridiculous. And like people are like shooting out blood, their eyes are coming out, kind of like they look like the dudes like on Total Recall, like when they go on the surface of Mars, the first Total Recall. Like I've never seen like the remake. I'm a fan of the Friday the 13th kills. I like the film Friday the 13th Part 7, and I really like the first one, but they added a single player mode where you just play as Jason, because you rarely ever get to play Jason online, but it's a broken but fine game. Generation Zero. This is like an open world game where you fight against robots. Some aspects kind of remind me of Terminator, but it's like the world's like feels like way more open. But there's not like a whole lot to do from the little bit I played of it. Like, it's not gonna blow your mind or anything. This is a great idea, but the execution wasn't the best. Like, a lot of these games don't play as well or sound as well as they did on the Sega Genesis. Everybody should play this at least once if you have any love for the Ghostbusters, and it's an interesting take on the third-person shooter. It's really different, like trapping ghosts and stuff like that. I'm so glad they remade it. I wish they would have put in the multiplayer. It's one of the multiplayer modes I really enjoyed, because you played with 3 other people as Ghostbusters and you really felt like a team, and it was fun just busting ghosts and making money. I was actually fairly good on it. As you can see, this game was really expensive for a while. This game I got from Redbox, which they don't have cases. They have these little CD sized cases, but I put it in this thing. This is about what it deserves. This is a terrible game. It's like Robotron, was it 2040? No, 2084? I don't remember what the number is, but but it's like that, except barely any enemies, and your characters move extremely slow. And even though it's based on a lackluster movie, and I'm not saying that because I really wanted to like it. I hope Ghostbusters Afterlife is awesome. I really do, and I was hoping that the 2016 Ghostbusters, which is actually called Ghostbusters Answer the Call, which is based on, has all female Ghostbusters. I've seen the extended version, I've seen the 3D version, I've seen it in 4K, I've seen it in low res, which were both the theatrical versions, and it was average at best, and this game is pretty shit, to be honest with you. It's not unplayable, but it's short and it's not really that fun. Like, it's one of those games where you look at the clock because there's just parts, like there's just no momentum to it. I don't know. It's not terrible. I don't want to trash it too much. Like, there aren't really a lot of terrible games out there that aren't like the homebrew games that are halfway finished on the PlayStation Store. God Eater, it's just like a straight up mind-numbing action game. It comes with God Eater 1. It says Resurrection of God Eater 1, but I don't know. It's just a hack and slash game with RPG elements. God of War, I still need to finish that. This game is awesome. I don't play the online portion of the game, but I mean, everybody knows about that game. Gran Turismo Sport. It's not my favorite racing game, as I prefer arcade games. In VR, it was pretty cool. It's the only VR game that gave me motion sickness, looking at the mirrors and looking forward and stuff like that. I don't know, it threw me out of whack. I didn't throw up or anything, but there was times where if I turned too hard, I'd feel ill. But it's pretty cool. It's nice looking. They always add stuff to it, but honestly, if you had a choice between Gran Turismo Sport and Drive Club, I would get Drive Club. This game is apparently like super rare now for some reason. I didn't get it because it's super rare. I got it new when it first came out because I liked the PlayStation Vita version. This is a limited run game, which I did a video of. And I also have one limited run game, like Cyberpunk Bartender, but with everything going on, like, things slowed down. This is a Seasons Pass game, but it was like in Target's clearance section, so I got it because I really like the Guardians of the Galaxy films. Guilty Gear is a really cool fighting game. Guitar Hero Live, it was cool until they shut down the service where you could play the live music videos. This is one of my favorite games. It's unfortunately the second one is going to be Xbox exclusive, but I think I can at least play it on the Xbox One because they said they aren't going to have like Xbox exclusives for a while, so maybe they'll have like a version with crappier graphics than the Series X. This is before I think it's IO Interactive like got their license back, so this is the Square Enix version, but there's a different version that came out later. I definitely prefer the Hitman game that came before this. I think it was Absolution. This one is closer to the older Hitman games where like you can die a lot easier, where I liked Absolution because, I don't know, it felt like you could screw up more. This game had got more patches than I ever can remember. Like, but if you get past all that, there's actually a pretty fun game underneath. Apparently the DLC is really good for it, but I won't get the DLC until I finished it. This is another game like I need to replay from scratch because I don't feel like I grind properly and got further in the game without being leveled up, and I was just like, I need to restart again. This also includes the DLC. I own the original copy, but since the DLC was on disc, I traded my original copy for that one. This is like a 2D JRPG style game, even though it's a Western RPG, but the writing on it is brilliant. I have the original case for this. Again, it's probably in a box somewhere. Oh, it's Injustice if you couldn't see. Injustice 2 Complete Legendary Edition, which means it has all the DLC on the disc, which I traded in my original copy for that. I had to import this. That was a digital only game here in the US. I guess Northern America, because that's a European copy. Because the Canadian versions would have like a mature rating and usually like the name in French under it. This is like a spin-off of the Yakuza series. This actually has English voice acting if the Japanese throws you off if you don't want to read subtitles, but from what I played so far, it's really awesome. Zoe, you're gonna end up knocking everything down. You can be part of the video too if you want. I need to finish this. I think this is missing one chapter, but I don't know. I still got it. Like, it has most of the chapters, so that made me happy. This game has quite a few characters for an online only game. I think there's DLC characters, but it's still really fun. This is, I missed the 2D graphics, the sprite work of King of Fighters, because the 3D models are kind of bare bones. They actually redid the graphics because I guess they were aware of it too, and it looks a little bit better. It's like every remake iteration of Kingdom Hearts, which is a lot, but if I want to know the whole story, I know it's accessible to me. But now that I've played Kingdom Hearts 3, like when you go back, it feels kind of limited. This is Killzone Shadowfall. Again, I have the case for this, but I don't know where the box is that has the case in it at my grandma's house, so I don't know. She has a habit, like, I'm not picking on her or anything. She had a stroke, and sometimes she does stuff and doesn't remember it, and then like my aunts and uncles go around and rearrange everything, so it ends up being like a scavenger hunt trying to find anything. This is based on like one of my favorite anime shows. This is one of my favorite games on the PlayStation 3. This has all the DLC. I need to finish it. I said there aren't a lot of bad games. I would definitely say that this is a bad game. I want to try it on the easiest mode, but just on normal, you have to, like, the stealth is broken, so you either don't get caught, or then you get caught when you shouldn't get caught, and then in order to kill somebody, you have to shoot them 500 times, and it's a spin-off of the Japanese strategy RPG game Front Mission, which was an awesome series from what I heard. I don't like strategy JRPGs, but for something that has such a high pedigree, like a spin-off like that failing miserably, this is a brand new game. I got like super cheap because nobody bought it, I guess because they read the reviews, but I love the artist that does the Metal Gear Solid artwork, and I saw that and it's just like, I just want to see the game. I have a lot of Lego games. They're pretty much interchangeable. The only one that felt like there was real progress was The Force Awakens. I'm curious what the Lego Skywalker Saga game is going to be like. I'll probably get that because it has the prequel trilogy, the original trilogy, and the sequel trilogy, and I think all the levels are different. I do like the Marvel superhero Lego games just because like it delves deep into the comic book lore and has all these cameos. I think I got that out of the bargain bin. But yeah, this is probably the most, even though it's not the newest Lego game, that probably has the most innovation, like hiding behind cover, like like a lot of the third-person shooters, and then like the flying levels when you're in the X-wing and whatnot, they're really fun. And it actually has like the actors, like Harrison Ford actually acts in this game. I don't think he's ever done voice acting for any other video games, including the Indiana Jones ones. Life is Strange is like one of my favorite games of all time, and this is the prequel, which is good, but none of them have been Life is Strange. There is a physical copy of Life is Strange 2, but it's missing the last chapter, and it's cost $40, and I already paid digital for the $40 version, so unless they come out with a complete edition, I refuse to pay for it. Alright, on to the next set. more people should play this game. I really like it. I really like the first one, which I don't think a lot of people played either. This one isn't nearly as bad as everybody says it was. I think it's a pretty competent game. It's just not the prettiest. I'd like to play more of this game. It's really nice looking, but it's also fun. The graphics aren't everything. I traded this in to get the XL version that has all the DLC. I traded the regular version in. I'm debating on getting the DLC for this because I haven't seen any signs of a full version of this, and right now they have a sale for $15 for all the DLC. But I'm gonna feel like a dumbass if later on they come out with a version with all the DLC, because I really like some of the characters, like Spawn's in there, the Terminator, Joker. The guest characters are more interesting, I think, than the Mortal Kombat characters. This was a game that like froze on me quite a bit on the PlayStation 3, but I haven't run into any problems on the PlayStation 4 version. This again, like I had the regular version, I traded it in for this version that comes with all the DLC on disc, but it's kind of a batshit crazy arena fighter. This game needs more love. I love Nier Automata, but they just announced what I assume is to be a remake of the first Nier, which was on PlayStation 3 and Xbox, and I think it's the Japanese version where you're the girl you're trying to save his brother and not the dad, which was what we got in the West. It's kind of weird, like Western areas got the Xbox version. The Xbox version in Japan you played as the dad, and the PlayStation 3 you played as the brother. It's really weird. I'm curious what they're gonna do with the remake. I gotta get through these games fast. I can't talk about every game, but if I think of something interesting to say, I'll say it. And again, if you want to see any of these games or more of it, this thing's having trouble focusing. I put it on auto so I could get through these quickly without messing with all the settings. But if you see something you would like to see me play, let me know. I'm here all day, unfortunately. But again, like, anxiety is really bad. I can't give you like time frames, or I might just not want to play the game right now, to be honest with you. But I will take it into consideration when I do decide to record videos. I'm not a huge One Piece fan, but World Seeker seems to be a pretty fun game. This is a bare bones remaster, but it does have actual analog control, and it makes the game way easier. I like this game quite a bit. I wish they would do re-release the other ones, especially 3. I really liked 3. I never played the 4th one. This game got a lot of criticism for cutscenes, but it still has gameplay and the story's interesting. I would recommend checking it out. For the longest time these were digital only games, and then when the second Outlast came out, they came out with Outlast Trinity. If you like horror games that you actually don't fight or anything, it's based on stealth, I would definitely try that out. This game's awesome from what I played so far. It's like Fallout with less survival things, at least on the normal difficulty, so it's a lot easier. I'm not even sure if I played this or not. That's really bad, but this is like a Metroidvania, like 2D game. It seemed right up my alley. I think I saw Pushing Up Rose's video covering it, and it looked pretty cool. Like I said, I have the Royal Edition. I'm keeping this because there are differences. Royal Edition has more, but I think they take some stuff out because they like they redid the battle system, and I think it has like it was retranslated, so I'm keeping this, and plus I like the steel case. I wish they would release on PlayStation 4, like, even if it was a bare bones remaster of the older Persona games. I would, unlike in physical form, I would get that in a heartbeat. This is the only way you can get the console version that's not on a portable of Persona 4. I'm trying to think. Yeah, Persona 4 is Dancing All Night. I couldn't remember what the little subtitle was, but unfortunately it's a DLC only card. I bought it the first time, and luckily the people at GameStop were awesome enough. It didn't come with, when I opened the package, they forgot to put the voucher code in it, and I told the people at GameStop that, and they were kind enough to let me trade it in and give me one with the voucher code. They actually believe me. This game probably isn't the right game to play right now, but when this all blows over, I would definitely recommend playing this game. It's not only beautiful, but it's touching. It's kind of scary. But judging from the name, yeah, I would avoid that game right now if you deal with anxiety issues. Prey, I heard it's awesome on PC, but it's a little finicky, like, to aim and stuff like that on the at least on the PlayStation 4 version. I haven't played the Xbox version, but I heard they patched up a lot. But I still liked it, but it takes a while to get used to. This game is awesome. I feel like more people would play it. The only thing I don't like about it, and this is personal preference, is I don't like the pastel colored color scheme of this. I don't know why. I don't like pastel colors. At least they look pastel to me. Like, there's like all these pinks and reds and stuff. It's kind of an issue I have with Control too. Like, sometimes the color scheme of games kind of make me nauseous, and I chuck it up to like this time during Easter where I got sick off of jelly beans, and I don't know why, but I associate it with that because Easter is a very, like, Easter decorations and everything are really pastel colored, and I don't know, it just brings me to that time. That's the weirdest correlation, but that's the only thing I can chalk it up to. But the game's so good, I can look beyond that. And when you play on the enhanced consoles, Xbox One X or PlayStation 4 Pro, it runs at 60 frames per second, which is ideal because that's how the first Rage one ran, which it won me over, so I guess maybe that's why I said one. Or I just meant to say Rage Part 1. I don't know. I'm all over the place. Great game. This is a good game too, but there's so much to do. I have yet to finish it. It's overwhelming how much you can do, where I don't even know. I probably have barely progressed in the game. This is an amazing remake. If you like platformers, there's your game. Republic. I haven't even played this. It was in the bargain bin. It looked cool. It's like a stealth game. This is a remake, a remaster of the GameCube remake, which is awesome. One of my favorite games, like, ever. But that's a pretty big list. To be a completionist, I got this. I'm not the hugest fan of Resident Evil 4 and 5. Those are really the only main numbered ones I'm not that crazy about. I'm one of the few people who actually like 6. Like I said, I'm not the hugest fan of 5. I think the AI is broken. But if you can get past that, it's actually pretty fun. But I would give the AI partner like your shittiest weapons, or they'll use up all your ammo. They fix it in 6 where you play with an AI partner, or actually an online partner, and the gameplay style is different between all 4 characters, and it's more action oriented. You don't really ever run out of ammo, and what spawns for you, like a separate thing of ammo spawned for the other character that you don't even see, so you get equal amounts of ammo, so nobody's wasting anything. And you really, like, every time you kill an enemy, they usually drop bullets. I really like this game. It definitely doesn't feel like a Resident Evil game, but I like it by itself. And I don't know, this is, even though this is first person, this goes back to more of the conservation and survival horror roots. But awesome game, I love it. You see, this is the gold edition. It has all the DLC on disc except the Chris Redfield version that came out for set. I think it doesn't have the Chris Redfield Not a Hero DLC, which was free when you owned the original one. But that's probably the best DLC there is, the free one, ironically enough. But I traded in my original copy for this copy, which has most of the DLC on disc. This is Resident Evil Revelations. This is kind of like a hybrid of the more action-oriented one. It's a little bit more survival horror oriented. This is Resident Evil Revelations 2. This was originally released episodically, but the physical copy has all the chapters in it, if you were curious. Rhyme, it's an interesting game. This is a limited run game. It was only $30. It came with an album, pretty cool instruction manual. Like, limited runs, this is only like a $30 game. The only thing that sucks about limited runs is waiting for it to come online, but it came with a soundtrack, which I put with my regular CDs, but you actually get manuals and shit like that. It's just so cool. Like, it seems like the lower price games get more love, and then if you actually get from limited run, usually with eBay, they'll take out the trading cards and sell them separately. Apparently people collect these things. They always do such a great job. And now the games, unless they're like the special edition games that are made for like older consoles, they're pretty easy to get. Even on eBay, like, they don't overcharge them unless they're the really old ones. They always make enough copies. One of the games that I won't show is Cosmic Star Heroine, but I did a video of that, so I don't know why I didn't take it out of the box, but I just didn't. I probably should just put it with my copies of the game. This is like a literal polygonal remake of the same game. So if you own the 2D game, you don't really need to get it, but if you're a completionist, I would. But I mean, it plays exactly like the SNES version. Samurai Showdown, fortunately, it's another game that suffers from some DLC characters, and since it's not a terribly popular game, I doubt they'll come out with a complete version. But it's a really cool fighting game that relies less on special moves and just finding like openings and stuff like that. It's more based on technical skill than how many. I mean, all the games rely on technical skill, but it doesn't have like a lot of super moves. It's more about just weapons fighting. It's really cool. I like it a lot. It's way different than like Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat. I think Mortal Kombat's the most accessible one, although Mortal Kombat 11 is way more technical. This is like a beat 'em up that's super tongue-in-cheek. This is another like beat 'em up. These have a lot of fan service, but they're actually fun games. This game kind of reminds me of Splatoon a little bit. It's like women in bikinis fighting each other as super soakers, which I look like a pervert, but the actual games are fun. This was an awesome remake. Shadow Warrior is awesome. If you like games like Doom and Duke Nukem, I would definitely try out Shadow Warrior. Limited Run Games came out with a Shadow Warrior 2. This was one from I'm gonna apologize for the outside sound. People like to hang out on the porch, and like, since this is like apartments over 100 years old, like nothing's soundproof. So this came out from Special Reserve Games, and it was really cool. It came with a scroll and autograph. This version's rare. As you can see, it doesn't have a rating on it. Most of all the games that come out now that are like limited run or special reserve have to have a rating on it, and I think limited run took over Shadow Warrior, but I think this was $30 too, and it came with like a soundtrack. It came with the PC version. It also came of both the first game and second game, and also came with the first game, which is insane to me. That was an incredible deal, and it was like $30. It took forever to come, but apparently this version is rare from the special reserve games or whatever. At the time when I ordered it, I just wanted a physical copy of Shadow Warrior 2. I had no idea it was going to be rare. I don't really collect things just because they're rare. I collect things that I think will appeal to me in some way. Shantae, an amazing 2D game. Shenmue 1 and 2, which is awesome. It's a bare bones remastered, but I actually can play it because the backwards compatible Xbox game on 360, like the arcade games, didn't work. So it's nice, and it's nice to not rely on a Dreamcast to play Shenmue 1. And then I don't think anybody thought this game was going to happen. This game wasn't well received because it stayed true to the originals, which are fun due to nostalgia, but they're extremely dated. And I haven't finished it, but I heard like the story leaves on a cliffhanger. I hope that they finish the series, but who knows. This is actually a spin-off of the Sega Shining Force series, and this comes within a cool, fairly thick tin case for whatever reason. It's different than most metal cases. Like, it has a slip cover like this. The reason why it's so thick, I actually just have like a regular copy. Apparently I haven't played this game because it's still in the wrapper. That's pretty bad. I played the shit out of the demo, and I enjoyed it quite a bit. But this is like a JRPG, and that probably will require a lot of time, so I'll save this when I don't have the attention span of a peanut. Shovel Knight, if you enjoy 8-bit 2D games, you should have that in your library. This game seems cool from what I played of it. Also need to play Call of Cthulhu again, which you saw earlier. This is an amazing game that doesn't get that much love, and there probably won't be a sequel because of it. This is a limited edition that came with the art book, which I'm dinging up because I'm trying to do this with one shaky hand. Sorry folks, there's technical difficulties. This is probably my favorite Sniper Elite game. Although I really did like 4. I don't know. I'm torn. But this remastered version was, for whatever reason, pretty difficult to find, like, at the store without ordering it. But I lucked out because I went to like a store that was closer to college kids and art school, so their game tastes seem to be way more varied than if you go to like a regular GameStop or whatever, which most of their used games are like Call of Duty and sports games. Song of the Deep, I think this was a GameStop exclusive. Insomniac, it's a really cool game that doesn't get that much love. Even though this game is ridiculously easy, I think it's one of the better 3D Sonic games. This is one of my favorite games of all time. I'm sure you know that. I can't stop ever talking about it during my videos when I get started, so I'll stop here. Soul Calibur 4, which I had a friend over that completely destroyed me by button mashing, and I guess I really suck at it, or you're just better off button mashing. I don't know. South Park RPGs are hilarious, and I don't know, they're actually really good games. Spider-Man, which is an amazing game, also made by Insomniac. Spyro, I have a point in contention with this game. I think it's ridiculous. Even though it was delayed, you still had to download part 2 and 3, which trying to look. It should say online connection required on this. Yeah, it requires internet download, so it's disguised as a patch, but you're actually downloading like the whole game, which is stupid. Apparently I saw a video on YouTube where if you look at the serial number, some copies now, like the newer copies made, actually have all 3 games on it, but unless you like buy it at the store, like there's no real way to check what version you're getting, and unfortunately right now that's really not an option. Stardew Valley, another budget game that's really awesome, and they update it all the time. It came with a soundtrack, like a really cool map, an actual instruction manual. I think this game was $30 brand new when it came out, and they constantly patch it and upgrade it to make it better. And it's not like patches for bugs fixes, it's like they add more features and stuff to it. It's an awesome relaxing game. If you like the Harvest Moon game where you like garden and walk around the city, and it also has some elements from Zelda where you actually go and fight monsters and stuff like that. This is a Star Ocean game. It doesn't really feel like it though. It feels more like a medieval themed game, even though like Star Ocean's more about space and time travel and stuff like that. I haven't finished it, so maybe it gets like that. Star Wars Battlefront, I loved it at the time. It feels a little bit dated now that Battlefront 2 is out, because it didn't have a single player campaign. The flying was dated. I love Battlefront 2. They update it all the time. It has a single player mode. It has more options to play offline as far as like the multiplayer type levels go, and they're adding new maps all the time. You don't have to pay for a season pass, so it's all free. The only thing that sucks about it is that they're not adding new flying levels, which was like my favorite part. I wish they made a game with flying like Rogue Squadron, with the Battlefront physics and the way it controls and the graphics and everything. I would be so happy, but apparently that's not everybody's favorite feature. This was a nice surprise. This is awesome. This plays a little bit like Dark Souls mixed with Uncharted, but I actually could beat it, so it must not be as hard as Dark Souls. But I didn't play it on the hardest difficulty, which I heard was pretty difficult. But you'll die a lot, but you'll eventually grow and get used to it. And when you get more powers, it becomes easy. But going back to the game after you get all your powers taken away, it's like a rude awakening, because you're pushing all these buttons to do things where you don't have the power yet, so it doesn't really happen, and then it makes the game hard. So it's almost like they're trying to create like this feeling where you're actually getting more powerful and you're beating enemies that you couldn't before. It's kind of cool. It's a really well thought out game, and pretty long for a adventure game. I'd say it was longer than any of the Uncharted or Tomb Raiders games. I really enjoyed it. This is one of my favorite go-to games. This pretty much has all the 2D Street Fighter games. Street Fighter 5, I need to upgrade it to the Championship Edition. Be forewarned, like if you do get this game and you already have it, you're basically buying the disc and a download voucher. So if you just want the better version, just download the upgrade, because that's all you're getting, unless the game, the upgraded physical copy is cheaper than the DLC to upgrade it. Then I would just get the physical copy. But keep in mind, those downloadable vouchers, they have expiration dates on it. It would suck if you got the game and the voucher was expired. Tetris Effect, it's Tetris, but it's really cool. Actually has a VR mode. It looks kind of cool. I tried it in VR when I borrowed my sister's boyfriend's VR headset, but it's fun. Tetris is a really relaxing game. Titanfall 2, this has one of the better first-person campaigns. I heard the multiplayer is awesome, but I don't really play multiplayer games that much, so I would not be a word of authority on that. A voice of authority, whatever. This is probably my favorite Tomb Raider. Even though the graphics are technically better on the sequels, I still like the first one the best. And this was just like Sleeping Dogs, where it has like the art book in it. and this has an art book in it as well, like Sleeping Dogs. All three of them are wonderful games, but I'm just saying I like the first one that I just showed the best. I never was really a fan of the PlayStation 1 games. I didn't like them until Crystal Dynamics took over, starting with Tomb Raider Legends, and then the anniversary one, and then there was a third one that I can't think of offhand, but I like that one too. I like all the ones after Tomb Raider Legends. The Division, these are online only games. I don't understand why they have to be online, except for the fact that they wanted to control everything and be greedy. I don't know. But you can play them like single player games. The Division 2 is really, really good. Although the New York setting is really, really cool to explore too. I don't know. I like them both. I think I like Division 2 a little bit more. The enemies are more balanced. You can play it like a single player game, which is why I don't understand why there's a single player option like Ghost Recon, Wildlands. They should patch this game because this is an online only game, which I don't understand why it's online only unless they want to micromanage everything and be in control of everything. I don't know. But my favorite thing about this game is that I can pop it in and fuck around and do whatever I want and not worry about whether the service is down or my online connection's cut off. Like, I love this about this game. This game, if like there's a little glitch in my internet, it'll cut me off or whatever. It doesn't, I've never really experienced it with this game, but it's a possibility. And when the servers go down, unless they patch this and I keep it on my hard drive forever, I won't be able to play it, but I need to play it while I can. It's a cool game in theory. That's my complaint, but I bought it, so I guess I'm technically supporting it. I don't know, but I really like the Tom Clancy games in general. So I got it. This is like a Dark Souls games style game, like in the future. But it's pretty cool. I haven't played the second one. Then we're into the Tales games, which I really like the battle system, the art style. I don't know when the next one's coming out now, especially with everything going on, but I thought it was supposed to come out this year. This is on PlayStation 4 remaster of a Vita game. It's pretty cool, although I played more of the Vita game than the PlayStation 4 game, but it looks cool. But there's certain things like the touch screen and stuff that you used a lot. It really utilized the Vita, so it's kind of weird playing it on the PlayStation 4. Alright, so this is one that I never had the case for because I got it out of the red box, hence the sticker, but this is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It's made by Platinum Games, which I love Platinum Games, but that was like one of the lowest games that they, lowest rated games, and seems like people didn't receive it well. I played it. It definitely didn't feel as polished and as well made as the other games that they've made. But beside that, and I think the Legend of Korra, I believe it was called, that one was ill received. But then they came out with amazing games afterwards, like Nier, like Automata, so they're well forgiven. And it's not a terrible game. It's just basic, I guess. This game has been one of my favorite games that I've played this year so far. I saw a thumbnail on YouTube. It says like the worst games of 2020 so far, and they use this game as a thumbnail, but this is one of the best experiences. I think maybe you have to have a love for the Terminator franchise, maybe, but this is a game that I feel like gamers tend to like, but reviewers seem to dislike, because when I see a gamer talk about this game, they're like saying nothing but positive things, but like a corporate reviewer or whatever, like from like some mainstream channel, they'll like trash the game. Like I believe even like what's his name, like Jim Sterling, like Jim Inquisition or whatever the hell his channel's called, who hates every game ever, it seems like. He even said positive things about that game, which was surprising. Thief, This is a pretty cool game. I really like the art style and everything like that. I got really far in it. I didn't finish it. There's a lot of parallels between this, I feel like, and Dishonored. They feel somewhat similar. Town of Light, apparently this is somewhat based on a true story. It's like a horror game where you visit a mental institution. It kind of seems like haunted, so I don't think that part's true, but it's based on a real place. I got this used, but it almost seems like this is one of those games that, like, they maybe like at GameStop took out of the package and like sold it as a new game, because you see like these little photos are like still in the original wrapping and stuff like that. Like, I think they just put a used sticker on it. But it's a cool little walking simulator type game, like, and I would compare it to, if you've played it before, Layers of Fear. I really want to play Layers of Fear too. They're in my shopping cart, but I'm debating on whether to spend the money or not, because there's a huge spring sale going on right now. This is Trails of Cold Steel 1, Trails of Cold Steel 2, Trails of Cold Steel 3. These are JRPGs. 4 is coming out later. Like I said, that's a game I probably want, because that's the last game to complete the storyline. So Trackmania is fun, but it can be frustrating at times. You'll find yourself doing the same track like 400 times in a row. This is another Platinum game when they were pumping out games like left and right, like Ninja Turtles, Transformers. I think this came after they made Metal Gear Solid Rising, which was an awesome game. This game's really fun, but it's like a 4-hour game. This game is hilarious. Like, I laughed my ass off. It's really made for VR, but you can play it with a controller, because obviously I don't have a VR set. But you like control this guy, and the character actually yells at you and says things, and it's obscure. And it's made by the people who made Rick and Morty. It has nothing to do with Rick and Morty, but it's like if like the people were like, go to town. Apparently there's free DLC, which I haven't tried. Uncharted, the collection. This doesn't have the multiplayer, but the remastered versions running at 60 frames per second, like with updated controls and everything with the older games, where you can cook grenades and so forth, and the reaction times and everything. The controls are just better, and the graphics are updated to some degree. Like, it's a must-have as far as I'm concerned if you like adventure games. And again, Uncharted 4, amazing looking, and more of the same. This game is awesome too. I don't really hear a lot of people talking about it, but it's really fun, and it's a little bit more open world but restrained, but you can choose where you want to go to a certain extent. Undertale, actually got this from fangamer.com, as you can see. Like, it wasn't sold in retail stores. I've seen the Switch version sold in retail stores, but not this version. But as you can see, it wasn't sold in retail stores, because this was before they enforced the ESRB rating, which you have to have if you want to sell in the retail store. Now you have to have it in general. But again, this was like a $30 game. Look how much love went into this lower priced game. I think it comes with like little stickers and stuff, like a little art card, and it comes with like this instruction manual that like emulates like those golden books that you had when you were a kid, or like you see like in the stores. Sometimes they still make them. What a nice booklet. All that plus the game for half of the price of a AAA title that barely comes with anything. Undertale, if you like the games like Earthbound or like obscure like JRPGs, I would check that out. Although the battle system is kind of weird. Like, you actually have to play like almost like an overhead shooter game and like avoid like obstacles in the battle system until dawn. This is like a weird first person shooter game. I don't even know what to compare it to. There's like these evil pandas that chase you. This game literally came out of nowhere. I saw it on the shelf and I was like, give me that. This is the remastered version of Valkyria Chronicles, which is like a third-person shooter, real-time strategy JRPG. And I kept the PlayStation 3 manual because this one didn't come with a manual. And then we skipped from Valkyria Chronicles 1 all the way to 4 because we never got a remastered version of 2, which was on the PSP, which was really a weird choice. And then I don't think 3 even came to the US, or maybe that's the other way around with 2 and 3. Either way, we don't have a remastered version 2 or 3. We skipped the 4. 4 is kind of more of the same. They don't really change that much, but they're really fun games, although challenging. And this is a spin-off, which is more hack and slash oriented, where the other ones are strategy. There's some strategy elements in the spin-off, but not as much. Vampire, this is made by Don't Nod, who made the Life is Strange games. Really cool, a little bit wonky, which is weird to me because they made a game called Remember Me, which had amazing action. I can't tell you how many times I bought Telltale's Walking Dead as each episode was released and we didn't know if a future episode would come out. But this is literally every Walking Dead episode and side story on one disc. And I'm so happy they finished the game. And we finally got to see what happened, and it's all on one disc, and I have it, and I don't have to download anything else. I would like to play it all from the start to the beginning. That will be a huge chore to do for someone that has the attention span of a peanut right now, but it's something I've been debating for a while. This is All-Star Warriors. It's like Dynasty Warriors, but it like has a bunch of characters from a bunch of different games all in one. Wasteland 2. I saw on the Xbox Game Pass they had Wasteland 3, which I didn't even know was out yet, and then a remake of the first Wasteland, which I haven't seen on PlayStation 4. So I don't know. Maybe they were advertising Wasteland 3, or maybe it was downloadable. I don't know. Watch Dogs. I really like this game. I actually like the protagonist everybody hates quite a bit more than the protagonist in this game, which people seem to like more. Although I will say San Francisco is an aesthetically it's aesthetically more pleasing, although I do like driving around Chicago too, so I don't know, kind of torn. Like 2 obviously has better graphics, it's more colorful and everything. I don't know, I like both games, but here's the difference. I beat Watch Dogs. I did not beat Watch Dogs 2, so I would say Watch Dogs 1 to me is the better game, even though Part 2 has better graphics. It's my personal choice. Think that way. If you disagree, good for you. I don't care. I secretly do care. Don't listen to me. This is like a survival horror game where you explore school. I think this is like a Korean game. It was originally for cell phones and then got remastered for the PlayStation 4, but it's pretty cool. If you like the stealth like survival horror games, I would check it out. This is a remake of an old Super Nintendo game. For a long time this game was fairly rare, and then I saw it showing up all the time. If you're expecting super upgraded graphics, you're in the wrong place. It has 2 additional characters and some new stages, but it looks like a Super Nintendo game. The animations are a little bit better than you would expect from Super Nintendo, but all in all, it does not feel like they really went all out. But if you like shooters, like games like Contra and stuff like that, it's unique, like where you control the crosshair and your character at the same time. Like the Punisher game on the NES. I think there was a game called Dynamite Duke on the Sega Genesis. It was kind of like that. This is amazing remastered that on PlayStation 4 Pro runs at 4K. It's actually it's 3 games in one. I couldn't remember if it's 2 or 3. So it has the remastered version of the PSP game, the PlayStation 3 game, and the PlayStation Vita game. It's challenging, but the music's on point, the graphics are amazing, and it's really fun. The Witcher 3, you know all about it. This is actually the complete edition, but I saved all the maps and soundtracks and everything that came with my original edition, because if somebody buys it used, they're getting a discount anyway, so whatever. I guess I'm an asshole, but I wanted my maps and everything. Because the complete edition, although it comes with all the DLC, it did not come with a soundtrack, a map, and a decent sized manual. And this is a pretty involved game, which I like quite a bit, although I start to lose focus on what's going on. Came with this poster as well. Came with so much stuff. But I like this game quite a bit, but I haven't played it in a long time. If I play it now, I probably start from scratch. I probably barely even touched the main campaign. Apologize about the banter outside. There's nothing I can do about it. This is one of Telltale's best games, and I'm glad that they're making a sequel of it, because I didn't think that was ever going to happen. They were working on it, and then Telltale went out of business and somebody else took over. I don't know who took over the sequel. Tekken 7, pretty limited because they were relying on DLC. I bought this used because I bought it digitally a long time ago, so I justify buying it used because I already gave them my money. I try to support the companies I love, but if I was gonna double dip, like, I think I got this game for free or almost free because I had trade-ins. Usually when I trade games in, it's usually like I'm trading in the same game to buy like a better version of the same game. So this is probably my favorite Wolfenstein. This is cool. It was kind of disappointing compared to the first one I just showed, just because it relies on more stealth missions. This is what I would consider a failed experiment. It has a lot of cool stuff in it, but you're basically in one hub world and you kind of do the same stuff over and over again in the hub world, and unless you have somebody that's fairly good, like the AI is kind of dumb and the enemies are kind of overpowered because they're trying to compensate with having two people on the playing field. And this is a remake of Wonder Boy, and you actually can play the Master System version in the options screen, so you can switch from the remaster to the old version. This is like a music game. You don't really see any like artwork or anything. It's just matching numbers while you're listening to music. It's a chill game, although it's one of the harder rhythm games I've played. It's a remake of Yakuza 1, so a remake of Yakuza 2. This is a prequel to all the Yakuzas, which should be in front of Yakuza 1 2, which it is. And this is the remastered collection, which comes with Yakuza. These are bare bones remasters, where the Kiwami series are actually remakes. But this is Yakuza 3, 4, and 5, and we never got a physical version of 5 for the PlayStation 3. It was download only, so I was happy that we got that. And to make up for it, they actually came out. You can have it in this case. And I think it's only for like the early releases, where it's like 3 and 4 and then 5. And 5 is a pretty large game, so it's good that they finally released a disc version. But to make up for not coming out with a Western version, like the early editions actually come with a PS3 case, which it only runs on PlayStation 4. But it's kind of a novel thing, and it didn't cost any extra, so I welcome free bonuses. So you can pretty much get, except for the zombie game, the zombie Yakuza game, you can pretty much own every Yakuza game, but then Yakuza 6, which actually comes with a little mini art book. And then the Yonder Chronicles were, I don't know, I haven't played it that much. The girl at GameStop suggested it to me, but I don't know, I didn't really get much into it. It's like a relaxing game. There's not any fighting, you just like discover animals and stuff. Ukulele, it's kind of like a scavenger hunt 3D platformer like Banjo-Kazooie, kind of like Mario 64. And then this one, Yakuza. I was still thinking about Yakuza. Ukulele and the Impossible Lair, like that emulates the Donkey Kong Country games. And we have Ys 8, which has been well received. I've only played whatever Ys game was on the Super Nintendo. I think it was 3. But it's not a popular RPG. And it comes with a soundtrack. The music is really good on it. It kind of looks like a Dreamcast game, I'm not gonna lie to you, but it's still really fun. It's like a action JRPG, kind of like Zelda, but it's a cool game. And if you like JRPGs or Zelda, I would check it out. As long as you can deal with lower quality graphics, because the developers used to making 2D games. It's like, this is like one of their few 3D Ys games, so it's kind of bare bones. They've done a little bit of 3D before this or whatever, but they're not like AAA quality developers by any means. It kind of looks like a Dreamcast game. It doesn't look terrible by any means. I'm just saying, like, if you're expecting like a Square Enix like type Final Fantasy looking game, look elsewhere. But the actual game itself is really fun. Alright, that's it. If there was any games that interested you, let me know and I'll think about doing it. The reason why I think about doing it is because it's my way of saying, like, I'm not promising anything. I might not want to play the game or whatever, but I'll keep it in mind and we'll think about doing it, but no promises. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I know it's fairly long. Sorry about the noise outside, but I hope you're all doing well and stay safe and do all the things that you can to keep safe. And I hope you're all well, stay healthy, take care, and I'll talk to you on the next video. Bye.
If you want to, like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.